Dude, that right there, that's how the game starts.
What is she? What? If you're on a sinking ship, you're not gonna. Okay.
Alright, everybody, welcome to Hot Couch Potato, the podcast where we talk about video games and the perfect weather, like a cold, cloudy day. My name is Brent.
It is a hot weather right now.
My name is Brent, aka Boo-Up. I'm here with my man's Rick, aka A New Perfect Day. What's going on, man?
Not much. It's getting a little hot, actually. I was thinking, where's the clouds going? On my way, though, driving down from LA between like Camp Pendleton, I was like seeing these clouds. It was crazy. The clouds was like coming in from the shore really fast, and then it was like a Silent Hill kind of mist, and then everything just went like kind of pitch dark. It was so crazy. It was like it went from sunny to almost really dark where you can barely see in front of you and stuff like that.
What? On the freeway too while you were driving?
Yeah. This morning, when I was coming down, it was like at Camp Pendleton area. So I was like, wow, I've never seen clouds move that fast and that low, you know, and then to the point where it became foggy where you can't see nothing.
Shit. Next time, dude, don't look in your rearview mirror. There's gonna be someone sitting in your back seat, man.
That person better have a passport because it gets stopped at that checkpoint.
The ghost doesn't have a fucking passport. Man. So we're starting this podcast off with a little bit of salt. Just a little bit. Rick and I just watched
a lot of it.
Rick and I just watched the trailer for the new Tomb Raider movie. And I am upset. But they really did. They modeled it after the most recent revival of the Tomb Raider series. So not the most recent Tomb Raider game, but the one before that just ushered in the next generation of Tomb Raider. There's like shot for shot same things from the movie to the video game, and just bring back Angelina Jolie. That's all you need, dude. We don't need this new shit. I'm just an old man being bitter.
I just don't like how they try to copy exactly the game and bring it over to like the movie side kind of stuff. It's like, you know, there's always that difference of you playing those different parts versus watching those parts. So.
Yeah, man. I wonder how they're gonna show her training, her survival training, or her gun training, or anything like that. I hope they don't
She went
just
to
show.
College.
I really hope they just don't show her coming out of college, you know, inheriting all of her dad's burdens and murdering like 20 people. You know.
Yep, that's exactly it.
No, dude, it can't just happen like that. She can't just show up and murder everybody all cool and shit, man. Okay, we're gonna stop talking about it before the salt overflows. Positive note: Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer dropped yesterday. A second one. We know the first one came out, dude, almost a year ago. The first one came out.
Really? I thought it just came out this summer.
No, I want to say it was in 2016. Yeah, it was in 2016. I remember because it said fall 2017 when it was going to come out. So we're like, oh yeah, we got a year or less than a year. It's going to be great.
Wow.
And then
that's crazy.
Shit, man. And they delayed it until next spring. There still isn't a hard release date on that. But it just reinvigorated the hype for me, and I think the timing is perfect, especially since they have a partnership with PlayStation or with Sony, that we're most likely going to see something at PlayStation Experience, man. I'm hoping.
Oh, that would be pretty sick. Especially, I hope they have some sort of merchandise in that PlayStation store with Red Dead. That would be pretty sick, too. But
yeah.
Who was that main character? Was he part of the gang? The Gang of Seven?
You know what? Yeah, I think he is. I think he's part. I think they're called the Vanderlyn Gang. That's the gang that Dutch was in with Bill Williamson and John Marston and that what was the Mexican guy's name? I forgot.
Shoot, I don't know, man. Everyone was dead to me.
Right? They were just targets. But yeah, they were all part of that same gang. I guess there's 7 main people in it. and John was one of them. So I wonder, there's going to be heavy John cameos in this. I think we're going to see why he left the gang for sure, because this is for sure a prequel. Since what's his name? Dutch is in it, and Dutch is, spoiler alert, Dutch is the last guy you have to kill to get the cops off your back in Red Dead Redemption. So
yeah,
I think it's just gonna show the rise and fall of their gang, and it's gonna be wonderful, man. Red Dead Redemption, think about it, in PlayStation 4 graphics, dude.
Yeah,
I can't wait,
man,
bro.
It's gonna be so amazing. If that stuff comes out in VR too, I might as well get it.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 you could play first person, so you might be able to play this first person mode, man. It might be crazy.
I think I'm gonna play John Marston again. I just like hearing his voice.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I'm gonna play Grand Theft Red Dead Redemption coming up here soon as well, just to refresh my memory on how great that game is. I mean, we talk a lot about other games that have these cool features. For example, most recently we were talking about Batman that you were just playing, and how the world felt organic, where people were just randomly robbing a bank here and you could stop it, even though it wasn't on your map, or the game didn't tell you, oh, this is your objective right now. You just saw it happening and you took care of it, you know?
Yup.
In Red Dead Redemption, there was stuff like that everywhere, right? I mean, you would be
the hideouts.
Yep, you would be riding along a dirt path, and there's this lady next to a broken down stagecoach asking you for help. So you go down and help her, and all of a sudden 5 dudes ambush you and shit, and you have to fight them all off, and then all that's left is the girl, and you have to decide what to do, you know? And in Red Dead Redemption, there's that karma system, right? So you could either be good or bad. You know, pretty simple, just like Fable. You know, if you kill a civilian, then you get negative karma or whatever. So you could decide if you could just kill her, or you could rope her up and just hog tie her and leave her there, dude. Or drag her on your horse, or take her to friggin' a train track and drop her on the train tracks and just watch as the train runs her over, dude. So good, man. So good.
Dude. I swear that's like one of my favoriteest games of like all time.
Mm-hmm.
All time.
Yeah, it was so perfect. So perfect. And the way that the music just kicked in at the right badass moments, you know, you fight a bear and your horse dies and you barely kill it with like a stick of dynamite or something, and then you're resting there waiting for your life to come back up, and the music just plays all like subtly, and you just sit there like, oh my god, dude, I'm in the Wild West, bro.
Dude, my favorite parts is when we usually co-op, and I think there's this one part where all of the bad guys are chasing us, and we're on like one of those wagons or coaches, and we're running away, and then, you know, we're just kind of shooting at them, turning around shooting at them while they're chasing us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I like that aspect of feeling chased and then you're trying to get away from something, or whether it's like robbing a bank or just trying to kick ass. So dude, I think I want to actually replay that game right before the Red Dead 2 comes out, so that way I can get readjusted to the whole system.
Exactly, yeah, and get reacquainted with the story as well. You know, I'm sure Grand Theft Auto or Rockstar, they like to do a lot of Easter eggs, right? Like in Grand Theft Auto 5, a character from Grand Theft Auto 4 is actually in the game. You know, you could hire him as part of your crew if you save him in a side mission, you know? There's callbacks. I think Nico is in a newspaper or a dating website or something in Grand Theft Auto 5. So they like to do a lot of little Easter eggs and callbacks, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty from Red Dead Redemption 1 into 2. Yeah, I can't wait for that. His son.
Time travel shit.
Yeah, man, I just can't wait, man, to just be free in that world again. You know, ride your horse, just really feel in the wilderness, you know, because it's just ambient sounds of the nature around you while you're riding your horse. Oh, man. I'm so excited, dude. It sucks it's coming out in friggin' spring 2018. I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping with this timing that it's going to come out, or something will come out, like a playable demo or another trailer in December, right on time for PSX. So Those are
And you get free
those are my favorites.
bandanas if
Shit.
you play the game.
Shit, I'll wait
Just
in line.
like-
I'll wait in line 5 hours for that shit.
I have a feeling it might like come out during February. I think that's when Red Dead 1 came out. Wasn't it?
February? Oh, I'm not positive. Man, I remember the only reason I bought Red Dead was because it was a Rockstar game. You know, and I was so in love with Grand Theft Auto at that point that I was like, you know what, I might as well try this. You know, because I was playing all the Grand Theft Autos, and then I played Bully, which was great too. So I felt like they couldn't do any wrong.
I bet you number 2 will end like you have to save your family because the cops have a hostage. You know, like from Red Dead 1.
My thing is so a little bit of a gripe is you know how it's gonna end, kind of, right? Because
Yeah.
the main or the character that looks like is the main protagonist in the Red Dead Redemption 2 in the trailer, his name is Dutch. There's no mention, or Dutch, his name is Morgan, I think, and there is no mention of Morgan at all in Red Dead Redemption 1. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he's either going to be dead or he's going to escape, and Dutch is still alive in Red Dead Redemption 1. So Dutch maybe kills you in the end for betraying him or not doing a job properly or something. So that's my only thing, is you can kind of anticipate where the story's going to go. I mean, sure, maybe we'll run into John Marston and what was his wife's name? Abigail?
I don't know.
Well, we're going to run into them for sure in this game, and we already know they're going to split from the gang somehow, you know? So there's some main story points that we'll know already, and that's my only gripe with it being a prequel. But other than that, it looks great. I just can't wait, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, I just can't wait to see what kind of missions they have. I hope everything is kind of like Uncharted, where you're, I don't know, you wake up in a burning wagon and you gotta, and you're hog tied to a train track or
What the
something, you know?
Oh man, speaking of, there's something like that in Grand Theft Auto 5. I don't know if you ever ran into this in the single player mode. I'd like to know if anybody else ran into this. So it's in the desert portion, right, where Trevor's from, and I was playing as Franklin, and I was just driving around, whatever. I think I'd finished the game already, so I was just driving around doing whatever, and I think I fall off my motorcycle for whatever reason, right? And I'm kind of in the middle of the desert near the road, so I'm walking back to my bike to pick it up, and all of a sudden someone tases me, right?
What?
Yeah, I get tased and I can't control Franklin, and he just falls over and the screen starts turning white, you know? And this hillbilly dude just runs up and says something. I don't remember exactly what he says, and my screen turns white, and I go, what the I've never seen this happen in Grand Theft Auto. What's going on, you know?
Is that a hidden mission or something?
I don't know, I guess. And then the next thing you know, it comes back, it fades from white to clear, so you're kind of groggy, I guess, is what they're trying to present. And Franklin is in his underwear and a tank top, laying down in the railroad tracks, and you have maybe 2 seconds before the train runs you over.
Holy crap!
Just like run and jump off the tracks, man. I swear to God, I've experienced that once. I'm not tripping. It might have been late at night, but I wasn't dreaming it. For sure that's happened in the game, man. I just need to know if anyone else has experienced that. You just reminded me with, what do you call it? Talking about starting in the train tracks from a burning friggin' carriage and all that. But yeah, like I said, Rockstar are the masters, man. They're the masters of the open world, dude. They're
They are,
evolving
definitely.
it. Yeah, man. So can't wait. Like, I'm willing to stand in line the whole day at PSX to play a demo of that. It's gonna be great.
That gives you the free bandana. my
Hell
friend.
yeah, man. And a free cowboy hat and spurs, dude. And a horse. They just give you everything. Don't play the game, live the game.
Go rob an actual bank.
Shit. Speaking of long lines, the SNES Classic or Mini came out today. And shout outs to
Oh,
everybody.
yeah.
Shout outs to everybody that got one today. I know my boy Anthony went out there 3 o'clock in the morning at Target, got his ticket, and he's probably playing it right now.
Or sleeping.
Or sleeping, yeah. I know he got 2, so he might make a pretty penny off of the second one if he decides to sell it. I don't know how much it's going for now. And then you said your cousin as well, right? He got a SNES Classic too, or SNES Mini.
Yeah, he actually works with Walmart, and he was mentioning that he was with his coworkers and they were off, and they were gonna originally go there during like around 2 a.m. in the morning, but then they decided to drive by around the Walmart, and it turns out there was already like 20 people in line at 12 a.m.
What?
And they notified, since he works with Walmart, they said that like there's only like 38 reserved tickets for that particular store, so that leaves 18 tickets left for anybody that's coming after like midnight.
Holy shit.
So by 1 a.m. in the morning, it was already sold out, or people already grabbed all of the tickets. So I was like, damn, it was just, I guess Anthony was fortunate enough to go at 3 a.m. and still be able to pick one up. But I wanted to pick one up too, but it's just like, yeah, I think I'm kind of done with that whole camping season for now.
You were the originator, my friend. The originator. So that's crazy. What time did they start handing out tickets?
He said 12 a.m. is when they exactly started handing out these tickets, where you can just grab a ticket and you don't have to stand in line and just leave.
And then come back when it opens?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only way you can even buy one. So there weren't like any on the shelves. But that was like for Walmart. So I think Anthony did his for Target or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I know a couple people I know were out at maybe 9 o'clock last night in line standing in front of Target or Walmart. And they got their tickets. Yeah, they were number 17 and 18 in line. It's kind of wild. But I mean, it sounds a lot easier to get this than it was the original Nintendo Classic, man. I think they made a lot more of these, so good on them.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, what happens if you're able to pick one up at like 2 days later, easily off the shelf?
Right. One funny thing, I do know someone that works at GameStop, and they said each GameStop got 5 or 6, so it wasn't even a lot, right? And usually 4 or 5 of them the employees would reserve. So that would only leave each friggin' GameStop with one SNES Classic to sell. That's so broken, dude.
Yeah, dude, I was reading the Best Buy policy because recently got hired, so you have to read, like, I was wondering what kind of discounts they have. But apparently for new releases or console releases, employees at Best Buy, from what I was told, was not allowed to pick up the console until after their shift. So they weren't able to get the tickets, in time enough before it sells out. So I was reading online, like, some people would hide the consoles or whatnot, whatever they want to buy, like behind shelves and stuff like that, so. But that's what I was actually planning on doing if I ever saw something I really like. I'm like, fuck, I can't pick it up until after work, so I have to just put it behind these panties or some shit like that.
That'd suck if you worked the release, you know what I mean? If it was the midnight release of whatever you were trying to buy and you had to work. So you really couldn't buy it until you guys were sold out. That would suck, dude.
Or you're the person that has to actually hand out the tickets.
Oh no, dude. I know you're going down the line and you're like, all right, here, you're number 17, you're number 18, you're number 19, you're number 21. And the guy's like, wait, what? Shouldn't that be 20? And you're like, oh no, I think someone's here already with 20. You just pocket that shit, you know? Too funny, man. Too funny. So we won't be playing any SNES Classic games anytime soon. But what have you been playing this week, man?
What have I been playing? Oh, Destiny. I think I was actually trying to play some other games, but I had a short attention span. So yeah, I ended up playing Destiny, and I I started to play the Titan, and man, it's just a long grind. You have to play through the whole story all over again. I was like, man, is this worth it? I want to still play Hunter, or But I know that you guys ended up getting like all three classes leveled up, and you all choose different factions. But I only ended up choosing like one of the main factions, which was, you're right, I ended up picking Future War Coat.
See,
So
man. I don't know why
they had
everybody.
better gear.
I don't know why everybody was trying to argue and say, "Oh, Dead Orbit, man, Dead Orbit, get the all black
Yeah.
shader, all black." Nope. Future War
Nope.
called swaggin', man.
Yeah, especially I want to get that pulse rifle with I forgot, it was like explosion burst or area.
Oh
effect.
yeah, yeah. It's not called Firefly anymore. It's called something else. But I heard it isn't as
Yeah.
good as Firefly was.
Exactly.
The explosions
so that's
aren't
why.
as big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like
the-
I think the only gun was like the Sunshot gun, which was pretty
Mhm.
explosive, and I
Mhm.
think that's the only gun I've seen so far that counts as Firefly.
Yeah.
So.
The one I got one of the Future War Cult guns. It was the hand cannon, and that one is like the Telesto from Destiny 1. I don't know if you remember that fusion rifle. But the explosions on the explosive rounds are delayed. So what happens is you shoot the gun, the enemy gets hit, and then maybe a second later the bullet explodes. So you see a bunch of damage numbers whenever you're shooting. It's kind of cool. I think the gun is glitched right now, but what's up?
Does it like actually do damage when it first hits and then does more damage when it explodes?
Yeah, when the bullet hits them, the impact does damage, and then it explodes, and then it does more damage.
I want that gun.
It's pretty good.
That sounds like a cool gun.
Yeah, the only thing is it's glitched because I think its stats make it better than this other hand cannon called Better Devils or something like that. But someone did the math and they do the same amount of damage, even though I think it's called True Prophecy. True Prophecy should be doing a lot more damage.
Yeah, I have that gun.
Yeah, so they need to switch that around soon to make that more beneficial. Bungie was really, really scared at not making anything too overpowered.
Exactly.
I think we talked about that last week too. With none of the exotic gear feels worth it. The raid gear isn't even that cool. They don't give you cool perks, you know. None of the mods are really that great. They really just did not want to have a set amount of equipment that you needed, you know, which is cool. I get it. Because it was one time in Destiny 1, they got rid of the primary weapons that had an element on it, right? Then all of a sudden there was a Nightfall with Arcburn, and everyone was like, okay, you got to use the primary that has, what do you call it? What was that gun called? Oh man, the Tesla coil or something? It was the one that looked like an AK-47, but it was blue. I think it was called Tesla something. Anyways, but that one had arc damage, you know? So it got kind of boring.
I was the only one with the arc damage gun.
Yeah.
Exotic, yeah.
Yeah, so it got boring when you jumped into a Nightfall and everyone's using the same gun and you're like, all right, woohoo, you know? So I get where they're going, but shit, to make it just everything not that great, they got to do something, man.
Exactly. That's my gripe. It's like the exotics don't feel exotic enough. You know, it's just, it feels everything is all balanced and averaged out. You know, you don't feel too powerful having different types of exotics. You know, sometimes I have to like justify, is this legendary? Should I pick this legendary over this exotic weapon that I can equip? You know, like right now I'm currently rocking like all legendary weapons because I want to have a legendary scout rifle and a legendary auto rifle versus having some sort of exotic in my mix up. But I don't know, I just feel like they're handing out exotics more frequently now. You know, everybody's getting one and it's just average. It's nothing is like a wow factor like you were mentioning.
Yeah, there's no Gallahorn really. There's no, I don't know, man. I mean, I remember in Destiny 1, I would never use the Knucklehead radar because that was the worst perk.
Exactly.
Seeing the radar, oh great, I could do ×6 damage with the Celestial Nighthawk. You know what I mean? But now I'm using the Knucklehead radar. And same thing, yeah, I'll have all my weapons are all legendaries. None of the exotic weapons really feel worth it, you know?
Yeah, so. Exactly. And then I think one of the helmets that I don't understand is, do you have that exotic hunter helmet where it just marks randomly one enemy?
Oh
whatever you're
yeah.
looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like what is the real purpose of that? You know, it's just, oh yeah, I see him now,
Yeah.
even though I already can visually see him enough. I don't understand.
It's more of a PvP thing, so you can see enemies through walls and track them. I know a lot of people use that during trials, and then I think there's a perk on something where you do bonus damage to enemies that you marked. So yeah, in PvE it's not so great, but PvP I think is where it's at with that exotic for sure.
Okay, I got you.
But yeah, so that's funny that you mentioned you're dragging through the story. Didn't it feel really short at first?
Yeah, definitely.
On
I
your
think
first
I
character?
breezed.
Yeah.
I was like really trying not to complete the story because I
Same
knew
here.
that I was reaching the end and I was like doing all of the missions. I was like, holy crap, I'm already 20 and I'm already beating everything and it's only been a day. I was like, oh no, I gotta slow down. But then now I'm like, fuck, is it over yet? Fuck, I just got on the second planet.
Yeah, because you want to get to the end game super quick, you know. I
Yeah.
think what messed that up too was making the strikes available so late and not integrating those into the story.
Yeah.
I think really hurt the game a little bit too. I don't know. I feel like we're complaining a lot, but that being said, the game is great right now with the with the faction stuff. I think the faction stuff is really cool, man. They let you pick
It
one
is.
faction with each of your characters too, so you can just be a part of every faction and collect whoever wins in the end, man.
Shoot, I only have one character, so
Oh shit!
good.
You better hope future. You know what though? Future War Cult's gonna win. I think it's a consensus that they have the best weapons, and everybody's ranking up with
They
them.
do.
So
They do, but there's one shotgun I want from New Monarchy. I
Mhm.
forgot it was like full auto, and they had slug stuff, and the perks were pretty good. But
Hmm.
everything else is like Future War Cult had all of the good guns and
Mhm.
weapons.
yeah, man, I'm really, dude. I just went in for the shader. I didn't know the guns were gonna be good, and that's what my hunter was on before Destiny 1 ended. I was on Future War Cult, so I wanted to keep it consistent. But that's funny that some good guns come out, so everybody wants to jump on board. Have you been playing anything else, or has it just been all Destiny 2?
All Destiny 2. I was actually trying to start up like Gravity Rush, and
Mhm.
I was looking through my Steam backlog. I was like, man, I gotta finish Witcher 3 because I know I'm right near the ending, but I don't know. It's in me that says, don't finish the game yet. Don't finish the game because you're gonna
What?
finish it, and then it's like it's gonna be done with, and I'm like, but I got to finish that game.
Isn't there a DLC that's just like a whole new game, anyways? The Blood and Wine or something like that?
Yeah, and I heard it got really good reviews. I'm
Mhm.
like, damn it, why
So-
did it have to get? Now I have to buy that.
Yeah,
that-
man. So if you
add
finish
on.
it, it's fine. You still have that story to look forward to, right? But you didn't actually start them. You just kind of looked at it and said, "Yeah, not right now."
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, let me just jump on Destiny some more and, just do nothing. Like sometimes I just log on to Destiny and I just like drive my Sparrow around the planet. Because I'm like dreading playing the story mode for my Titan or doing anything else. But then now I might get into PvP because my internet's going to be good.
Let's
so.
go, dude. Rick is finally moving into good internet. He's not gonna have 2 megabits per second anymore, dude.
Exactly.
He's gonna have, what are you gonna have, 100 now? So you said it's times 50?
Yep, 100 megabits.
So that'd be good, man. I'm still playing Dark Souls, so I'm still grinding on that. I thought I would just be able to power through everything with my fireballs. Unfortunately not. I'm getting my ass kicked here and there. It turns out I do need a sword for the little trash enemies. The fireball's only good against the bosses. All the little skeletons and stuff that I would normally dominate because I would go traditionally. I'm getting my ass kicked by them now. Because you only have a limited number of fireballs you could throw. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I just get my ass kicked. I throw like 2 and I'll only kill 1 person. Meanwhile, there's 3 other guys trying to kill me, and I'm like, oh, great. Okay.
I think you can dual wield 2 or have 2 fireballs, like 1 on each hand.
Oh, really?
So it doubles the amount of fire you can carry.
Okay, I need to find that. I need to find the build for that so I could throw fireballs all day, dude.
Yo, dude,
But
ask John Raymond because he was the expert at fireballs.
Well, yeah, it's so funny. And I mean, for me, honestly, I could really care less about the difficulty of Dark Souls anymore. I mean, I powered through Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. I just really want to experience the story and go through the whole thing, you know, and if I got to cheese it up and fireball enemies one at a time, then I'm good, dude. I'll just do that. Because there's this one YouTuber that I started watching for Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 lore called Vati Vidya. I think I linked you a couple of videos, or you even linked me a couple of videos too. And he just has a lot of good things to say about Dark Souls and how everything's connected from Dark Souls 1 to 3. I really wanted to get to the root of all that lore, so that's why I started playing it again. And yeah, so far
Dang,
so
so
good.
you're gonna go through Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2?
Yeah, and I'm already looking up OP mage builds in Dark Souls 2. Just like throw magic spears at people and just hang out, dude. I'm not trying to fight and roll and block. I'm just trying to walk backwards and shoot shit at people. Just cheese it up, bro.
I think it was like Black Magic was the one for Dark Souls 2. John
Yeah.
Raymond was a Black Magic user, and dude, he was like nearly one-shotting all of the bosses, so you might want to check that out. But in PvP, people can dodge that pretty easily. So, but for bosses, they take them all out pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be next. I've dove a little bit into Dark Souls 2. It's just the combat is so different. I mean, the combat from Bloodborne to Dark Souls 3 was different yet similar. You know, you could dodge roll. It just wasn't as fast, you know, as Bloodborne. So I had to.
Yeah.
I mean, I always carried a shield for whatever reason, but I never blocked in Dark Souls 3. I just rolled everywhere, you know. I should have just dual wielded. Anyways, in Dark Souls 1, you can still kind of get away with dodge rolling. Those iframes are there, although they are a lot less. In Dark Souls 2, oh my god, you just have to block all day, every day. It's crazy.
Yeah. What I was actually a dual user katana user, and I don't know if they changed it, but if you're a dual katana user, you can stun lock a lot of the enemies, so that way you can just keep slashing away, and you do a lot of crits. But if you want to just hang back, I would go for like magic.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna go magic, man. I'm definitely gonna go magic. There's that first enemy you run into in Dark Souls 2. He's got his back turned to you, and he's like eating something. You know, it's this giant troll guy or whatever. And you finally get your weapons, and he's an optional fight. You could just walk past him. You know, there's a path right next to him that you could just go through. But no, I want to kill everything I see. So
you took the bait.
Yeah, dude, I charge up the R2 attack, and I hit him. You know, I hit him just fully charged R2 attack. Boom, hit him in the back. His life goes down like a 10th. It doesn't even go down that much. And I go, oh great, here we go. You know, and he starts. It's so slow. He kind of gets up, puts his arms up, and he's gonna belly flop. You know, so obvious that he's gonna belly flop straight in front of him. So it's all right, cool. Let me just dodge backwards so I can avoid this. The timing's different. I have no iframes. Die in one hit. Oh my god. So I must have died maybe 9 or 10 times to that guy until I finally beat him. It wasn't even worth it. Didn't drop anything cool.
Yeah. He's just nothing. He's just a side guy. Yep.
And then I get to the first area, get lost, don't know what to do, don't have any Estus flasks. I have to keep buying these heal stones. Turns out I had to talk to one person who's right next to the bonfire to unlock Estus flasks, and I just didn't see them the entire time. So I quit Dark Souls 2 super quick, man. Way quicker than I quit Dark Souls 1. But yeah, man, because of those videos, I'm really looking forward to diving into those wholeheartedly. I know the community's pretty good too, at least on the Reddit. I know they schedule events every month where everybody will play Dark Souls 1, you know, for a month, and everybody will PvP for a little bit or help each other out at bosses. You know, then the next month people will play Dark Souls 2. So I think that's great too. Just the community's keeping these old games alive, you know.
Yeah, and I think the add-on for Dark Souls 2 was what helped keep it going too, and especially they brought it over to Steam, so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people be playing a lot of Dark Souls games on Steam right now.
Yeah, I got the one on PlayStation 4, the Scholars of the First Sin, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's 60 FPS on there. I wish they would do that to Dark Souls 1 too. They need to move that
Yeah.
one over to PlayStation 4. Is Demon Souls on PlayStation 4?
Nah, that was a
Ooh,
PS3 game, and
yeah.
they took off the online part I think a couple years ago. But
Oh, okay.
dude, that game was the essential of life and death, and
So you can't beat that game then, because isn't that the game with the monk where you have to PvP someone?
yeah, the thing is, if you're playing offline, you get like the actual NPC monster or
Okay,
like
okay.
a regular NPC. But originally, you were supposed to be PvPing with other players who invaded your world, and
Mm-hmm.
they become your boss, just like my cousin. And they use all of the weapons that are forbidden, and then you get so bitter, your pride is up, and you're like, no, no, just keep using those strong, cheap weapons. So because I've been playing so
You can
longer.
feel the tears right now coming out of
Oh
his eyes,
my
dude.
god, you know what? It's like going up the stairs to face him was really a challenge because everything was super hard, all the monsters to get up to that boss. But then when you finally get there, your cousin or whoever you're facing one shots you or two shots you, and then you have to go all the way back down.
Oh my god, dude, that's so troll.
I'm totally not bitter, but
That's funny,
oh
man.
shit.
So along with Dark Souls, I've been playing Destiny 2 as well. Been raiding Nightfalls all week. The Nightfall this week is actually really fun. Your grenades reload super fast, so if you have a pulse grenade, you just throw a bunch of those at the boss and melt him super quick. Did a Prestige Nightfall this week, and we beat it with 6 seconds left. I think
Damn.
we wiped completely with 30 seconds left. And we're tripping. I was slamming the table. I was like, I can't believe we almost did it, And everyone's like, oh, he only has a little bit of life left, a little bit of life left. So I think there was 15 seconds left. I finally revive, and I come back and I throw a grenade at the boss and hit him, and he has half of his last health bar left. I go, there's no way, dude. There's no way we're beating this. And I try to elbow, shoulder charge him and, melee him and stuff, and he's not dying. My grenade's still going off, and I die. And I see the counter going down, and then all of a sudden I see these 2 grenades coming out of nowhere. Just Kobe and hit the boss and kill him. 6 seconds, 006 on the clock,
Nice.
dude. So with that, I got the last trophy I needed in Platinum Destiny 2 already. GG.
Congratulations.
Which is a lot faster than I think I Platinum Destiny. You know why? Flawless Raider. There was a trophy for
Oh.
Flawless Raider in Destiny 1. That's why it took so long.
Yeah,
Man, that's
there
crazy.
was. And then I forgot it was one of our teammates, Moto's sister.
Oh my god.
And
That was the
I
funniest.
felt so bad. It was like we would always get halfway into the raid, which took, I don't know, like 30 minutes or something. And
It
then
took a while,
when
yeah.
yeah, when we get to a non-combative area where
A
you just have
jumping
to
puzzle.
jump.
Yeah.
And then she died, and then she was starting to feel bad, and then we're like trying to cheer her up. We're like, don't worry, let's just restart the raid,
Yeah.
and, we'll get it a second time. So the second time we go through it again, and she dies like at the exact same spot. And then you can hear her like starting to tear up, and you can hear her voice getting a little shaky, and we're like, no, don't cry.
And she just leaves the party, dude, and leaves
Yeah.
this, like, turns off her console.
Like I really didn't really care, like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we just
No,
messed
none
up.
of us did, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly, but I guess that pressure feels, it built up on her. So.
Yeah. I think the funniest part is when we did finally get it, there was only 4 of us. 4 of us
Oh,
finished.
yeah.
4 of us finished the raid and did Flawless Raider on that. So it's super funny. Yeah, that's why that one took way longer than Destiny 2. That's funny. Maybe they just really didn't care. They didn't want people to really grind for trophies like that, so they made them kind of simple. But that's interesting.
They should have made it like a little tough, so that way they can keep grinding. I think they really eliminated or reduced the grinding element in this game.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't completely eliminate it. You know, you can't put your level 300 Titan arms that you're not going to use onto a
that's
hunter,
right.
you know, but they did lessen it by a substantial margin. So, last game, I played a lot of games this week actually, is this game called Heat Signature on Steam. I don't know if you've ever heard of this game, but I think it's fairly new. And it's a top-down game, and you're a space assassin. So you have this asteroid or this planet that's your home base, and then you have your own little personal ship. And you fly your ship around, you get contracts to kidnap people, smuggle something, assassinate someone. And you fly your ship, you have to find where you can dock onto the ship you're trying to steal or the ship that has a person trying to assassinate. You have to dock onto that ship and then stealth your way around and kill people. It's really fun, man. It's very similar to Hotline Miami. I don't know if you've ever played that game.
I played halfway into the game. I still got to finish that game. That's in my backlog too, by the way.
Well, it's exactly like Hotline Miami, you know, the top-down style, except this time you get to pilot a ship. You have a hub kind of home base where you can prepare and level up and get the right gear and stuff like that. But it's super fun, you know. Unlike
is that, one of your Steam recommendations,
definitely. I mean, I haven't bought it yet. I just borrowed someone's Steam account to play it because I was really interested. But it's really fun. The biggest difference between Hotline Miami and this is you have a lot more options. You could see, I mean, the entire ship and everybody that's walking around on it patrolling. So it's a little bit easier that, and you have a lot more abilities. Like there's a teleport ability where you leave a marker somewhere, and then if you're about to get caught, you can just teleport back to where that marker is. It's really fun. It's really fun. I mean, it is hard in the sense where you get shot once and you're dead, you know.
Yeah.
But they give you enough opportunity, enough tools to be able to avoid that. It's funny too. Some people won't kill you; they'll knock you out and throw you out into space, and then just undock your ship at the same time. So there's this little mini game where you have to, I don't know, swim through space and get back into your ship before you pass out, you know, from not having oxygen. It's pretty funny, man. But yeah, I'm about to buy that game this weekend and play it. Heat Signature. If you're looking for
Heat Signature. How much is it right now?
I want to say it's not a maybe $15. I think it's maybe a $20 game. I'll look it up later, but yeah, I don't think it's a full $60, dude. But
damn,
yeah, it's good times, dude. Good times. Last week we talked about video games that haven't come to America for whatever reason. Maybe the culture's not here that would properly embrace it. Like if you wanted to, I don't know, manage a Japanese idol through her concert career, her music career. There's video games for that.
Hey, that's one of my games.
But nobody would really play that here, right? Nobody really play that here. Although,
you're surprised.
Although for us, you know, and anime lovers all around the world, maybe we would want to play those, right? So we're going to talk today about games that you wish came out in the US, whether they only came out in Japan and Europe and never here. There's games that we wish we could play here, right? So we'll start with you, Rick, man. What's the game that you wish we had here in America?
When I was little, my dad took me to one of those computer conventions, and even though it was about computers, they had like a bunch of games, like an area of games, and there was like a Japanese booth I remember, and they were selling like, I think it was like Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22 or something like that.
What?
Yeah, and this was the time when Dragon Ball Z GT, or I think it was just Dragon Ball GT, was very popular. So I really wanted to pick up this game, But and since this game was placed for PlayStation 1, I thought that my system was really compatible. But
Mhm.
the thing was, the title was all in Japanese and everything was in Japanese. So we ended up buying the game, and I was thinking, I didn't know any better. So I got home, popped the game into my PlayStation. When I tried turning it on, it was like reading error. And then it turns out, like, I didn't know, but the PlayStation was like region locked for
Mhm.
PlayStation 1. So basically, you either have to have some sort of I forgot what they had. It was like a disc where it unlocks the PlayStation temporarily to be able to play Japanese games.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was originally the one of the games I really wanted to play, but I didn't have that feature to unlock the PlayStation at the time, and I was so disappointed. I got a brand new game. I think I spent my my lunch money allowance on this game to
Yeah.
get this game, dude. Man, I was saving. I was like, wow. I was ready to play this game because Dragon Ball GT was really good,
Mhm.
and so that was the reason why I wanted the game. So it's like a 2D kind of fighting
Fighter.
system.
Mhm.
Yeah, like that one Dragon Ball game that's coming out or came out,
Oh, Dragon Ball
Dragon
Fighters.
Ball Fighter Z or something. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. But it was just the graphics was different. But the same concept. Yeah, that was originally the first game I really wanted to play, but
So,
couldn't.
did you ever end up playing the game, dude?
Nah, I think I still have it
Whoa.
in my backlog.
Wait, so you never did the disc swap?
Yeah, see, that was the thing. You had to have that disc swap thing, and I didn't get that disc swap thing till like I forget forever, and that was
Oh.
like after I lost Dragon Ball Z
Ah.
Ultimate. I didn't know where it was at the point, but I personally bought that so I can play Japanese games, and I was like, oh my god, where is the game? I don't remember
Oh
where I
wow.
put it. So
Wait, because you could
I
do that with any game, right? You just had to start it up,
yeah.
and then switch it out, put the Japanese disc in after it did the American startup, and then it would read it.
Exactly. And then you had like a spring to hold down I forgot the thing.
Yeah.
But
No, there's a little button. So when you close the lid of your PlayStation, there's this plastic part that extends from the lid and pushes down this button, and that's the sensor that lets the PlayStation know, okay, the lid's closed. We can spin this disc.
yup.
But of course, yeah, I remember back in the day, it was a paperclip or something that you would put on um
That little
that little
area,
button,
yeah.
yeah, that would push it down, and then you would start the game with the American game. You would wait for it to slow down just a little bit. You would pull that out, put in the Japanese game, and then it would load it up and play it as it normally would.
Yup. Exactly. Exactly.
I remember when we discovered that, oh, you didn't have to put friggin' a spring and balance it on there somehow. You could just put tape. Just put tape on that little button and you're good.
I think they charge like $5 for that shit, too.
Yeah, I know for sure there were places back then that were modding PlayStations or putting a chip in them where they would play every video game,
Yeah.
regardless of where it
Yep.
came from. But yeah,
I was
because
too far back then.
one that we were playing a lot and one that I really wanted to come to America and eventually did was Dance Dance Revolution. I mean, we were playing the shit out of that in elementary school. You know what I mean? When we could not play in the arcades but play it at home and practice and get better, that was even better. You had the dance pads at the house and you were playing and you had to do the disc swap with those. You know what I mean? That was You
Exactly.
became masters at that shit. But it turns out I ended up doing some research afterwards that all it is there's this one maybe line or ridge on the CD that the laser reads on American discs, and that's what triggers it to start playing the game. That says, okay, I'm an American PlayStation. Here's that one line. We're good. This is an American game. Let's play it. So that's all it was, is you put in that American PlayStation game in there, you let it run, you let it read that little line, and when it slowed down for that split second, that's when it's about to load the real game. That's why if you switched it out, American Japanese game, it would start playing that game because it's a CD like anything else. It could read all
Yeah.
the data that's on there. It's just you're bypassing the part where it verifies if it's American game or not. So that's why the disc swapping worked. But yeah, man, Dance Dance Revolution, for lack of better words, was a revolution. Maybe 5th or 6th grade, and everybody was playing that. You had to get a bootleg dance pad from somewhere in Kearny Mesa. You know, there were those random like video game stores in Kearny Mesa on Convoy that you had to buy one of those shits from.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were good times. And I mean, eventually Dance Dance Revolution did come out in America, but the songs sucked. It just wasn't the same, dude. The guy wasn't yelling in Japanese, you know, when he did something cool. He was yelling at you in English. The character selection wasn't as great. It just was a bastardized version of what we came to love, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish they just kept it as it was with all the little Japanese quirks and things. They just kept it as it was and brought that to America rather than the American version. So that's funny that you mentioned the disc swapping in the Japanese. That's exactly what I had online too, man, for Dance Dance Revolution. What other game, man, did you wish came out here?
One of the games I really wanted, this is when I had a PSP, and I think PSP at the time they're all region locked as well. So I wanted to play Hatsune Miku. Which everyone knows is that that Vocaloid singing game where, you know, you have these girls.
The boy what? The Vocaloid?
Vocaloid.
Oh, Vocaloid. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Some sort of program. So they're not real voice singers or whoever's singing. They're actually comprised of computer programs and stuff like that.
Oh wow,
and
okay.
They sing the actual song. So, but anyways, the games were not popular yet in America as much, so they didn't really bring most of the Hatsune Miku games over. And there's one on PSP I really wanted to play, and it was in Japanese. But in order to play the game, I took the risk of hacking or modding my PSP. So I turned my PSP essentially. I think I was like tampering with the software. Which is not too hard. You know, there's people that do steps to do this. And what you do is you flash the software and to make it turn into something like where it can read unlocked games. So I was able to do that. So I hacked my PSP to play Hatsune Miku. And so later down the line, I bought a Japanese Vita to play Hatsune Miku
really,
again.
dude?
Yeah, so you know, I don't know where this came from. I wasn't really too interested in this kind of game or, you know, the type of Vita, but for some reason at 1 year I was just like crazy for Hatsune Miku. And so I went and pre-ordered the Vita, the limited edition version that came out. And it was like maybe $500, dude. So Vitas originally cost like $200 at the time, but anyways, I ended up buying that Vita so I can play the Hatsune Miku game and, you know, and all that. But I think the next year I sold the Vita for $500 because it was limited edition. I think a week later the price went up to $1,500.
Oh my god!
Like, I was crying. I was like, I missed out on $1,000 I could have sold. But anyways, there's one game finally that came. The Hatsune Miku game came onto 3DS. But I didn't know anything about hacking the 3DS, and I really wanted to play it. But unfortunately, you have to have Japanese 3DS in order to play the game, and I wasn't willing to buy one or try to hack one because I think it was region locked for all 3DSs. So you know, and later down, many years later, they decided to release a different version of Hatsune Miku, but that was the particular one I wanted to play on the 3DS, which I couldn't play.
So they did eventually release an American version?
Yeah, but I think it was like a different game altogether. So
yeah. So wait, what do you do in that game? You just, because I remember you showed me one time, right? You put a card on the table and she was dancing on a card.
Oh, that's one of the features. Yeah, so basically you have like a VR card or whatnot, and you hover your Vita camera over this card, and what it does is like a hologram imitation comes out on the Vita screen, so it's not really a hologram, but she starts dancing. So it looks like she's dancing on whatever you put the hologram on. So
Hmm.
if you put it on the table, she looks like she's dancing on the table and stuff like that. And you can also print these images and these hologram stuff via like paper online. You know, you can just grab it anywhere, and she dances to whatever different songs depending on the code.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was pretty innovative, you know, at the time. Like I was like really invested in that stuff. But for playing the game itself,
Hmm.
you just press like circle, triangle, square, depending on, it's like a rhythm game basically.
Okay, okay.
Uh, Depending on the song and how well you do. But other than that, yep, that was one of the games.
Okay, so it's like a rhythm game, and I guess the idol culture isn't a thing here in the States, right? That's huge in Japan.
Yeah, and what's crazy was I learned that Lady Gaga used Hatsune Miku as one of her opening songs or opening concerts or something like that.
What?
Yeah, go Google that stuff. I ain't lying.
That's
So,
crazy, dude.
yeah, so
Okay.
it got more recognized, more popular in America. So,
But later
still
on,
not.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you wanted to check that out, it's like a hologram, by the way.
Okay,
That dances for Lady Gaga. But yeah,
I'll have to check it out. I mean, I just know how wild, the idol culture is in Japan, and idols are what, just Japanese females that are trying to be actresses or pop singers, or they go like the whole route, don't they? Don't they start off in like porn and then sing and then
I have
become
no
an actress?
idea.
Something
I
like that.
don't know. I have no idea.
Anyways, there was this one video I watched where there was, a girl group on stage at a convention or something in Japan, and they were dancing or whatever. And there was this middle-aged dude in the crowd who was doing chants and synchronizing with 5 other people, the different cheers and stuff. And I was like, holy shit. That's definitely something you wouldn't see in America. So I can kind of see how, those games wouldn't come over. But hearing that Lady Gaga is like promoting it a little bit, that sounds cool, man. Hopefully your kids or our kids can enjoy Hatsune Miku games without having to buy a $500 PlayStation portable.
Yep.
So another game that I wish came out here in America is this game called Poi Poi 2. Do you remember playing the original Poi Poi, man?
I don't remember.
So this was a game on PlayStation 1. Super simple, right? There's 4 different characters on a stage. And
that's the game I beat you in.
No,
I think it was like with me, you, Marcel, and there was a 4th person. But
Yeah.
I remember winning.
No, you've never beat me in this game, trust me. So you spawn into this stage, you pick 4 characters, and then you pick a power, or you pick a glove that gives you a power. You go in onto the stage, and it's kind of like top-down, isometrical. It's 3D, and all of a sudden, all these rocks, bombs, logs, just different things spawn into the stage with you. The point of this game is to be the last man standing, right? And the way you kill enemy players is by picking up these logs and rocks and throwing it at each other. You know what I mean? It's a super simple game, super great. It's so great. I ended up buying a multi-port for my PlayStation 1. Who the hell gets a 4-player game on PlayStation and buys a multi-port? But it was worth it. Like Rick said, him, me, and Marcel and other people were playing this game all together, and it was good times. And I remember getting my dad had subscribed to PlayStation Magazine at the time, and I remember in PlayStation Magazine there was a little article about Poi Poi 2 is coming out, and they showed stages that had different elevation levels, so you could snipe people with bombs. There was different powers you can use, all this stuff, and I was like, yes, I cannot wait for this game to come out. You know what I mean? I can't wait, dude. And time goes by, I really leaves my mind. You know what I mean? And I think one day we were all playing it at my house, and I'm dominating as usual. And it pops in my head again. It pops in my head again. Why aren't we playing Poi Poi 2? And do a little search on Yahoo, because Yahoo is what we were using back then. It turns out Poi Poi 2 was only going to be released in Japan because Poi Poi 1 did not perform well in America.
Oh.
This is one of the greatest multiplayer games of all time. This caused me to get a multi-port for my PlayStation. How are you not going to come out with part 2? And then I realized video games are bigger than just me, and people got to make money. So it made a little bit of sense, but that one is for sure. I've still never played it to this day. I don't even think there's emulators out for that shit, man. If there was, I wouldn't even play it because I would just be playing by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So unlike the rest where we kind of mentioned them and we had an opportunity to play them a little bit, this one I've really never played, and I really wish would come out here. I mean, God, my heart is breaking as I'm thinking about it. So what other games you got, man?
One other game. This was during the time like I was like really invested into anime and manga, which I kind of still am, but not as much. But anyways, I was always into romance and romance comedies kind of games, manga and anime. And there's this one manga that caught my interest, and it's called Photo Kano. I think I said it right. Photo Kano.
Okay.
So basically, the manga is pretty good in my opinion for like a short manga. And what it is like you're this guy that likes to take pictures. If you know where this is going.
Wait, what console is this on?
So yeah, I think it's on PSP.
Okay.
But of course, I didn't have the PSP at the time. I was like, I wanted to play this game. But anyways, so basically, the protagonist is like a kind of like a nerd person, and you have this camera, your specialty is camera. And in the manga, I don't know what this game is originally the storyline is about, but in the manga, you're trying to take pictures of different things, and then of course, your goal is to get better in taking pictures. Mm-hmm. So what happens is like you have many different girls that come in and like ask to take pictures and stuff like that, and then the main girl, she starts to get jealous because you're taking pictures of like other girls.
Oh shit.
So it turns out this main girl is like one of the most popular girl in the school, and so that's when I found out there was a game version of it. And apparently the game version, you can like take pictures of different shots, if you know what I'm saying. But anyways, this game was one of the games I really wanted to play on the PSP. And it looks like it released on the PS Vita, and there's different sequels to the game. So I might have to not look that up because...
So wait, that did come out in America, or either that, or is the Vita region locked?
It's not region locked.
Okay.
For Vita, so it looks like it came out again for Japan, but I didn't realize that until like I was researching it today, because the PSP version is PSP is region locked. So
okay.
You have to actually either hack or mod your PSP in order to play these games, and then you have to download the game, find the game that actually be able to play it. But at that time, I think I sold my PSP, and I wanted to play this game pretty bad. But yeah, all you do is you take pictures of girls, and it's a romance comedy. And if anybody's interested in all that kind of stuff, especially like Honey Pop,
sounds more like Galgun Bros.
I think Galgun, you're like just trying to run away or stop them. Like, I would not stop the girls. I'd be like, come at me, bro. But yeah, that was one of the games.
I have actually a similar game, and I think this is what made me want to spark this whole conversation. I still have no idea what this game is called. The only reason I kind of know the title is because we went on Play Asia last week after we started talking about it. The name I have here is Natsuhiro High School Seishon Hakusyo. I have no idea how to read this, but essentially it's Grand Theft Auto, except you're a Japanese high school student who is taking a photography class, I think. So of course we all know where this is going. But I mean, in gameplay videos I've seen, this guy is crawling on the floor like a soldier in the lunchroom to take pictures and shit. He's riding his bike to escape police in town and shit like that. It's like Bully, but anime, dude. This game looks amazing. Looks amazing. And it's what really, I really almost pulled the trigger and bought this game for $80 when it first came out.
Damn.
I think the first I'd ever heard of it, it was in an article on a website saying, you know, this game might have the longest name in history. And I think when it was announced, they teased the title. And I'm going to read this whole thing. If you try to keep up, I know I'll forget what I'm saying halfway through this. But it says, Adolescent Record. A summer at school on an island where I contemplate how the first day after I transferred, I ran into a childhood friend and was forced to join the journalism club, where while my days as a paparazzi kid with great scoops made me rather popular among the girls, but strangely, my camera is full of panty shots and where my candid romance is going. I didn't even realize what I was saying halfway through reading that, dude.
That sounds like an advanced version of the game I was talking about.
I know. But it is. It's on PlayStation 4, man. And
everything in HD.
I know, man. And this is such a cultural thing. I mean, they sell girls' panties at what is it?
Vending machines
in Japan, right? So this is a super cultural thing. I remember you, John Raymond, and he was telling us about this movie where they perfect the art of getting upskirt shots, where they put cameras on nunchucks and shit, and we're like doing kung fu moves to take. It's crazy how much of a thing this is in Japan, and I don't know what it is, man. Where the idol scene, I kind of get it, you know, this upskirt photo taking stuff, I really don't get it, but this game looks incredibly entertaining. And I really would import it, but what kills me is I won't know what the hell's going on in the game. You know, there's no English subtitles. I'll just be guessing. I probably won't even know how to start the game because I won't get through the menus properly. I'll fail the tutorial a bunch of times. So my only option is to learn Japanese. So it looks like I'm buying this game in 5 years once I learn Japanese. Well, yeah, man. You got any other games?
I got one more game, and it is Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Full Boost.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that was a long name. But anyways, this game, this is the most game I really wanted to play, and this was on the PlayStation 3. And from what it says it looks like there's 90. I don't know what that I can't read Japanese, but anyways, it looks like it says there's 90 different Gundams or 90 different series.
Oh shit!
So I'm guessing it's 90 different Gundams. It looks like it because they list the series off of all the different types of Gundams involved in this game, and it's like all of the Gundams you can possibly think of during the time, during your childhood. You know, like Gundam Wing, Gundam Seed, Gundam. I forgot the one with the fighting, but yeah. So generally, it was like all these different types of Gundam, and you can choose whatever you want to be, and you play in like a 3D kind of map. So it's like I don't know if you played Naruto, the ones where you're kind of 3D fighting each other.
Okay,
but there's only like two. Yeah. So generally, you know, you have your series of missions to go through, your battle sorties, and you're just fighting all these different Gundams, and they all have their unique movesets.
Mm-hmm.
And so, unfortunately, like this only stayed in Japan, but however, people were saying like this is like one of the best Gundam games that they ever played, and I was like, fuck, man, I really wanted to play this game, but I just don't have that PlayStation 3, Japanese PlayStation, because I think PlayStation 3 is region locked. PlayStation 4 is not region locked, which is, I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, so maybe if I have some extra money I would actually tend to buy this game. And I think a new Gundam is going to be coming out. Aside from the one that we saw from the trailer in Tokyo. I don't know if it actually came out, but it was something similar to that in a sense.
So is it a fighting game or more of a Dynasty Warriors kind of game? Because you mentioned swordies and all that stuff.
It looks like more of a little bit of the fighting type aspect, like not too many. You know, like Dynasty Warriors, you're overwhelmed with different a lot of whatever non NPCs fighting you at the same time. But this one looks like you're actually like there's like four. From what I've seen, there's like 4 people on the same map fighting each other.
Oh, okay.
Using different mech or different Gundams, and I really wanted to play this.
Same, dude. I mean, Gundam's huge over here too, man. So I don't know why they wouldn't. I was thinking, you know, okay, I get it. Gundam's great in Japan. I mean, they got a real Gundam towering over the mall over there, right? You've seen that, haven't you?
I think they actually took the previous one down, and they might have put a new one up. I think it might have been Gundam Unicorn, or I know there's a new Gundam that they're building or built. So
yeah, man. So, and although Gundam's not as huge over here, where we don't have it replacing the Statue of Liberty, I think enough people enjoy Gundam in the States. I mean, they do have Gundam games here. Why not, man? That's
exactly. No fun. Yeah, dude. Gundam Wing was the first anime that actually got me so hooked in anime.
Oh, really? Off of Toonami?
Yeah, off of Toonami, because I remember like even before it started appearing on Toonami, like I remember my cousin took me to a store, and I think it was called Sunrise. And it was just like a lot of Gundams, and I didn't know what they were, so I picked up like the one that I thought would look cool, which was Gundam Heavy Arms.
Oh, okay.
And then I remember watching cartoons, and then they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna start introducing Toonami, and then what's on Toonami? We're gonna have Gundam Wing. And then I was like, wait a minute, that looks like the toy I bought, you know? I was like, oh my god, I bought this thing and it's gonna be on TV kind of stuff. And I was like, wow. So that's what got me really hooked onto Gundam. And I think I've been pronouncing it Gundam, like at the very start. Did you buy your Gundam?
Yeah, man, I don't know why they would. That's funny. I think my first exposure to anime was actually Akira. You know, my dad had that videotape. And then, which is weird for a little kid to watch now that I'm thinking about it. And then after that was Ninja Scroll. Again, I was maybe 10 or 12 when I watched this. So when it anime started being on Toonami and Cartoon Network, I was like, oh, cool, man. I get to see like anime boobs and fucking all this blood and guts and stuff, you know, and it turned out to be mechs, and it was even better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was always great. And then I remember Sci-Fi Channel had Anime Wednesdays or Anime Sundays or something like that.
Yeah,
where
like
they would show
or something.
Vampire Hunter D or Fist of the North Star, something super late at night, you know what I mean? And it's so great, that OG stuff, man. It was just hard to, and you know, that's what you really went to Comic-Con for back in those days, right? To see all that stuff, because it's
seeing all that, yeah,
it's not at your normal stores, not like it is now, where it's so mainstream kind of. That's funny, man. But yeah, Gundam's a big deal here. I don't know why they don't just pull the trigger on that.
Exactly.
So I've got a couple more games. One is Tobal Number 2. This was a fighting game. Tobal Number 1 was a fighting game on PlayStation 1. It was a 3D fighter. It was made by Square, actually. As a matter of fact, I still have it. It came with a demo disc for Final Fantasy VII. So, which is weird, because I feel like I finished Final Fantasy VII before I got this game. So I don't know why it has a demo for it in there. But yeah, it was a fighting game. There was a little one-player adventure mode where you would go through a dungeon, and the graphics were horrible. I mean, the controls were horrible.
Wait, what was this name in this game?
Tobal Number 1?
Tobal Number 1. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, it's a fighting game, but it's 3D, so it's, I want to say like Tekken. I don't remember if you could sidestep in this game. But you know, you fight each other, and it's 2D motions, but it's a 3D environment, right? In the adventure mode, it was the camera was behind your character, and you would walk through this dungeon, and there were a bunch of traps. The controls were so bad because in a fighting game, what you press up to jump. I'm pressing up in this adventure mode. Exactly, dude. It doesn't make sense. There's these boulders, these traps, these spikes coming everywhere for you, and I don't know how to dodge it. The controls don't make sense. It's meant for you to be moving left and right, but instead you're moving forward, backward. It doesn't make any sense, dude. But it had its quirks, you know what I mean? I remember I got it for my birthday too, and on my birthday I was just playing it up with my cousins, and we were just playing that game all day. And I remember we unlocked the last boss. I think a big thing with that game too, I mean, it's a Square Enix fighter, or a Squaresoft fighter, so how rare are those? You know, they're more known for their RPGs. That, and I think the art director for this game, or the guy that designed all the characters, was the same guy that designed Dragon Ball Z. I want to say his name's Akira Toriyama or something like that, but that was a big selling point, was the Dragon Ball Z characters, the same guy that drew those, he drew these characters too, you know.
Yeah.
So although the adventure mode sucked, the fighting was fun, and the game was had quirky enough characters to where I would definitely buy a second one. And kind of a similar thing with Poi Poi 2. I saw it in PSN and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to play this, man. Oh, they fixed the adventure system. It's going to be great. Never came out in America. And look it up now. Tobal #1. You'll know, like, you'll see the main character's face and you're like, okay, if you change his hairstyle, that's Goku. Like, his eyes have that same shape as all the Dragon Ball characters and all that. Last game, I'm not 100% positive which one it is. It's Fire Emblem, either 4 or 5. One of the Fire Emblem games on the Super Nintendo. This I actually got to play. My neighbor had a Super Nintendo, and similar to the disc swap in the PlayStation 1, there was a little tab in Super Nintendos, and there was a little that fit the cartridge perfectly in there. It's kind of tough to explain, but basically the Japanese games, they didn't have that little slit in the cartridge so it could fit perfectly, you know. So when you try to push the cartridge down, that little thing that's sticking out would always prevent it from locking onto the cartridge reader. So what you had to do was you had to open up your Super Nintendo and file down that little plastic piece so that you could put the Japanese cartridges into the Super Nintendo. And my neighbor did that, and we got to play Fire Emblem 4, but we had no idea what was going on because it was all in Japanese. And it's a tactics fighter, like all Fire Emblem games are. You have your allies and enemies all in the field, and you can move them in a direction, and if someone's in your proximity, you can attack them and all that. The only downfall with filing off that little plastic part that stuck out where everything could fit perfectly is now games that you would put in would be kind of loosey-goosey in the cartridge setting. So if someone bumped the table or hit the Nintendo, your game would like glitch out, you know, because the cartridge would become unseated. So at the end of the day, it wasn't a great investment for my neighbor. And we definitely lost a lot of save files in that game, getting way too excited, celebrating after bosses. But that game was fun. I mean, Fire Emblem games are fun in general, but the one that we played on NES was one of the best, I think. And all the other ones I've played have just paled in comparison, I think. So that one I definitely wish came out. And plus, there wasn't even a Super Nintendo in Japan. Wasn't it called a Famicom or something? Super Famicom?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't called a Super Nintendo in Japan. So it was amazing that my neighbor was innovative enough to fit that cartridge into the American Nintendo. Because I think the Japanese cartridges are more determined. Yeah, the Japanese cartridges are more round too. They're not rectangular like the American one was. So that's funny stuff, man. But yeah, I think ultimately it is huge. It just has to do with the numbers, right? And what's going to result in numbers is what's popular culturally. So they're going to make stuff in Japan that's more popular in Japan than here, right? They'll make those 3D Dead or Alive volleyball games in Japan, and we really don't care about it over here, but also sell out the rockers out there in Japan. So it's mainly cultural things is why they don't come over here and get imported. But I think what we want to take away from this is there's definitely a market, right? I mean, there's been times when you've imported stuff, and I potentially would have imported stuff, but they just didn't give it a chance, man.
Yeah, and I think it has something to do with also the companies here, like, oh yeah, we don't want to distribute Dead or Alive beach volleyball to the general public, kind of thing. So I don't know, like maybe...
they're protecting the sanctity of our society or something.
Yeah.
They'd have to do a lot worse than Dead or Alive beach volleyball, dude.
Yeah. But it was like surprising that Grand Theft Auto stuff comes out.
Exactly. I think it's so funny. Rick sent me a video last week of this guy who was playing the VR version of Dead or Alive volleyball or summer resort or something, and he's first the camera's on the TV at what he's looking at, and of course he's looking at this girl sitting down on a chair in a skirt or laying down or something, and you see the TV like view start to go and try to look under her skirt, and the camera goes to the guy who's playing, and he's like getting off of his chair, like starting to crawl on the ground. Come on, who's to say no one in America would do that shit, man? Somebody would.
I'm just surprised they programmed it where you're able to even do that.
It's VR, baby. It's VR. VR's the future, bro.
I need to get me a VR.
Oh, man. But yeah, now is the time for video game recommendations. What do you got for us this week, man?
So, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this game. I definitely recommend checking out Phoenix Wright.
Hey.
Yeah.
Whoa, super side note real quick. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I watched the movie, and it's not bad, man.
Really?
It's
Okay,
not bad.
I gotta give it one more shot.
Because it's the first Phoenix Wright game, right? So not to spoil it too much, it follows the first maybe 2 or 3 cases, and they sprinkle in the 4th case, just as like an Easter egg or something. But the characters do look kind of wacky. All the hair and all the makeup from the video game definitely made it into the live action movie. So the dude looks kind of weird with his hair. And his best friend, Greg Butts or something. The first case you do, he has like orange. He has an orange afro mohawk or some shit that just looks ridiculous. But if you could look past that, the story's great. I think it was a good time. I'll give it a 8 out of 10. Would watch again. All right.
I definitely gotta check that out now.
And all the music is from the video game, dude. It's so nostalgic, and especially if you know the song. I think it's called Cornered or something.
Yeah.
The one where he's like, you break through in the case with the right objection. You're like, hold it, and he goes. Dun, 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 dun. That kind of made the movie too. But yeah, sorry for interrupting you, man.
No worries. But yeah, dude, I definitely recommend playing that game. You're basically a rookie lawyer, and you're taking on all these different cases, and you're trying to prove them innocent by interrogating either the witness, the prosecutor's defenses, or stuff like that. But basically, that game is so epic because the way you always feel like you're pressured into a corner by all of these evidences that points against your defense. And what you have to do is you got to prove it all wrong or unveil the conspiracy behind each case, or, and then at the same time, you're like pointing out who the murderer is, and all that. But yeah, I would recommend checking out the first installment of the series, because that was the one that actually I enjoyed the most.
Oh wow,
like
really?
Super epic. Yeah, it was just that theme song. I remember there's one, like I think you become like best friends or friends with the prosecutor. Like
your rival. Yeah. Because he gets caught up in a case or something, right? Like you have to defend him at one point.
Yeah. And I remember there was this one time, like, it was just so epic that we ended up finding out like who the real murderer is, and even though we were not trying to collaborate with each other, we ended up, like pointing out the real evidence or the real crime, the real suspects, and all that. But yeah, definitely recommend checking out that game. I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, speaking of games that never came to the US, I'm actually surprised Phoenix Wright came to America, man, because that type of gameplay is totally unconventional, right? You don't really do anything except for, I mean, they show you a picture of the crime scene and you click around the crime scene to look at evidence and figure out whether it's relevant or not,
Yeah.
And then the whole interrogation process is just dialogue. What really makes the game is the characters and how quirky they are and the little nuances here and there, and just makes them that much more lovable, And the pressure. I definitely know what you're talking about. The pressure where you feel like, oh God, if I choose the wrong thing, we're gonna fail, dude. I have to choose the right accusation and make sure I'm getting the right person. That's funny. And that's on everything. I think I played it on my iPhone.
It's on iPhone. It's on the iPhone. It's on the Apple or the app market. So if you're looking to play that game without playing it on the 3DS, then sure. I think the original time I played it, it might have been on the 3DS or a DS. But anyways, you had to yell out "Hold it" or "Objection."
What? No way, dude.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So epic, dude. It's like you're in public and then you know, like they're pointing out evidence and they're about to accuse you of something and you're like, "Objection!" Hold it. And then the witness or whatever, they're like, "What?"
Oh man, that's funny. Great recommendation, dude. I just remembered how I might restart that game tonight, man. That's so funny. The game I'll recommend, I mentioned it earlier, Heat Signature. I think it's a great game. If you've ever played any kind of top-down shooter like Hotline Miami, if you like the OG Metal Gear games where you're stealthing around in a top-down 2D kind of world, this is the game for you. There's a lot of little fun features, different weapons you can get, perks you can get to sneak around and kill your targets. It's great. The missions vary from kidnapping someone to stealing an entire ship. So sometimes you'll go and infiltrate a ship and not kill anybody. Sometimes you'll kill everybody on the damn ship, and the tools are there at your disposal to do so. On Steam, check it out. It's good times. I'm about to pull the trigger and buy this for myself, man. But yeah, that is it for us this week. Next week, want to talk about something that we talked with our friends about a little bit throughout the week, and that's video games as a service. How the whole model of the video game industry is changing to where you would buy a video game and that was it. The video game was a product. Now video games are more of how can I say this? More of a hub, right? Where you buy the video game, but there's a lot of add-ons and other features that you can get for the video game by purchasing it separately. So something we want to talk about. I think that's the evolution of product to service. It'll be an interesting conversation, man, because I think I have a lot of gripes about this for sure. But yeah, until then, Rick, some words of wisdom?
Okay, so this words of wisdom is actually a little bit, it hit me a little bit. So during my times of stress, I was just watching this video, and it's about a 100-year-old man, and he's pretty happy. And they asked him, how do you handle stress? And what he said was, you can do the best you can, and the things you can't do anything about, don't give any thought to them. That's what it means.
Yeesh. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.